city.
Okay, like I mean, but being from Iowa, why did you choose hip hop versus country?
So country was obviously what I listened to growing up. I mean, hip hop was a taboo, really. At the end of the day, like my parents listened to country, right? And I remember the first time I even heard like hip hop, R&B, anything like that. I was probably 4 or 5. I knew I liked music very young because I found myself memorizing music at a very young age, and just vibing with it.
What was the first one? First cassette.
The first cassette that I remember was I think it was Tim McGraw. It was either Tim McGraw, Garth Brooks, or Aaron Tippin. I can't remember because I was so young, but it was one of those three.
One of those. Okay.
Yeah, it was one of those three. But the first like hip hop, R&B, anything outside of country I ever heard was Crazy Sexy Cool, TLC. Yeah, and I remember, and like it was in the back, and I'm young, I'm like probably like 4 or 5, something like that, and I'm like, what? And I looked at it, I'm like, ooh.
Right, I remember the artwork.
Yeah, I popped it in, and I started listening to it. I'm like, oh, this is different. This is real different. And then, but I was probably not supposed to find that, like it was.
Who bought that?
I think that was my mom's. It was just in her, my
Shout out to
dad.
Mom.
Yeah, that was my mom. But I found myself every time I would open that case back up, I would go back to that cassette out of all the cassettes I was in over and over and over again. So, and then as I got older, like when I was like 9, 10, that's when Eminem really hit the scene. That's when Nelly really hit the scene, and Nelly's from the Midwest. He's from St. Louis. Yeah. So, and it became a lot more. I was more aware of like television at that time. MTV and BET. I was waking up every morning watching MTV in the morning, BET when I got home. So it was like I absorbed a lot of it. And that was like, that was also the grunge era, so where they had like the rock rap and, all that stuff.
I remember that.
Yeah, so
I remember that.
I started branching out a little bit more, probably like, 9, 10, something like that. I would say 9 or 10.